Hello there. Welcome to One on One here on Metro Television. My name is Bridget Otu. Always a pleasure to bring in you compelling content. Today, I'm super excited about our topic for today. We're talking cyber security, cyber crime, cyber fraud. I mean, the Nigerians have invented a very popular word, Sakawa. Sakawa is Ghana, and then Yahoo Boys is in Nigeria. So we'll be talking about, cyber crime because we've seen authorities take several actions. I mean, I've seen the FBI, there was a release involving our own social media influencer, musician, Hajia for real. Not so long ago, we had that one of Nigeria, Hash Puppy, who was involved in several millions of dollar scam. And then quite recently as well, there was a release involving several Africans from different countries on the continent, all involved in various types of cyber fraud. What exactly is going on? How does it work? If you remember last week as well, the Bank of Ghana issued a release involving online loan platforms, illegal, that's what they call it, illegal loan platforms. Okay, how are all these connected? If you're online, how do you know that you're not being targeted by criminals because you're vulnerable, because you're lonely? And I get to speak to the lead legal and compliant with the Cybersecurity Authority, Jennifer MENSAH. Jennifer, welcome to One on One.
Thank you so much, Bridget.
Good to have you. Good to have you. I'm so glad that you could make it. I mean, despite your busy schedule, so we're grateful to have you join us.
Thank you.
Right. So I really want to take us back to just the fundamentals. When someone says that maybe you're involved in cyber fraud or cyber crime, what exactly are they talking about? If you can just share highlights of that.
All right. Okay. Thank you very much for the question, and good morning to your lovely viewers.
Right.
So basically, Bridget, we are in the digital age,
right,
and we are experiencing a lot of benefits, from the digital age, characterized by, the internet, the use of various computer systems and electronic devices, and it's really beneficial to mankind. It's another avenue for people to enjoy their human rights, rights such as freedom of expression, where people are able to express their opinions about things they are interested in, rights to freedom of religion, freedom of education, and all these, benefits. We really experienced the benefits of the internet during the COVID-19 pandemic.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. There were lots of stars that were born on the internet because of COVID. I agree, absolutely.
Exactly. And, during the COVID-19 pandemic, for example, we're able to connect with family and friends, although we had restricted, movements. And the internet is, really generating a lot of wealth for the world's economy. So just like any new invention, it also comes with its threats and its risk, ranging from data breaches, security threats, sharing of harmful content or illegal content, which, actually undermines the human rights of the individual.
Right.
And today, we are faced with some of these threats, such as what is happening with, the lending apps. We are the Cybersecurity Authority. The Cybersecurity Authority is, an agency, established by the Cybersecurity Act, the Act 1038, to regulate cybersecurity activities in this country,
right,
and see to the development of cybersecurity to ensure the Ghana's digital ecosystem is kept secured and made, resilient. And so, in line with our mandate, we actually educate the public on cybercrime and cybersecurity related matters, and we have reporting channels that the public can actually report issues of cybercrime and cybersecurity. And when these issues about the lending apps started, we've actually had people reporting to the Cybersecurity Authority.
We'll get to that, but I wanted us to first understand what are people doing that puts them in the category of cyber criminals. What exactly are they doing?
Okay. So when it comes to, like I said initially, the internet comes with, its threats,
Right.
data breaches, and
Right.
security threats, and
Right.
what have you not. So these kinds of, threats, there are ones that are pretty new,
Okay.
new crimes that have come about as a result of the advent of the internet.
Right.
And there are ones that are actually old crimes that we already know, but because of the nature of the internet, its scale, its scope, and its speed has increased.
Okay. So now to the release by the Bank of Ghana. They issued a release that about 97 illegal online or illegal loan platforms have sprung up. Now they are warning the public that if you deal with them, you do so at your own risk. They will not be responsible for it. Just help us understand, how they are operating and how do they put me at risk?
All right. Now, the modus operandi of, these apps is that, okay, people may need money because of, economic, situations. And so they go online and they see adverts, okay? Then because they have a need, they go and download these apps. Now, before you download the apps, there are access permissions. So the apps, there will be some notifications, that come, that there'll be some notifications to you.
Right.
And when you don't carefully read and you just click approve, you are putting yourself at risk.
Wow.
Risk in the sense that these apps have the capability to be able to surreptitiously collect information, your personal information that you have on your electronic device. It's able to surreptitiously collect everything. Your phone book, your messages, maybe pictures that you have, videos that you have. So as you are clicking on these access permissions without reading, you are just giving them the authorization to be able to access your personal data that you have on your electronic device.
Wow.
And Bridget, we live most of our lives in today's digital age online. So
Right.
virtually everything you have is probably on your electronic device. So as you are granting these access, permissions, you are letting them into your private space. So
Wow.
then once they have this information, they can use it against you.
Now a lot of things make sense now. So not so long ago, about say maybe a month ago, I received a text message, and the text message had the name of someone I had worked with.
Okay.
And it said, gave full name and says that this person owes us this amount.
My goodness.
And she is not paying, and we're going to go after her. I was wondering how they got my number to send me that message. So they fished. They took it from her phone because
because she granted them the authorization. So when you download an app, when you are in the process of downloading the app, there will be access permissions, and you need to read. You have to read the fine notes, all those terms and conditions. You have to read and see what power you're giving out to these people. You don't just click and download and go take your loan. You need to be concerned and read all these things.
What can they do with the information that they've taken from your phone?
So once they have that information, they have your personal information. So then when you default on paying those loans, they start sending you threatening messages that if you don't pay, we're going to send, messages about you that will damage your reputation. So that is an example of the message you received. Now that person is going to be probably embarrassed.
Yes, I had to call and find out if it's true.
The person is going to be embarrassed, and probably you are not the only one who received that message.
Yes.
Maybe all the people in her phone book got those same messages. And that is such an infringement on the privacy rights of the person and the privacy rights of the people
they are calling.
Or the people they are sending the messages to, because those people have got nothing to do with you. why do you go take their number directly and start distributing messages to them?
So is there more the Bank of Ghana can do? I mean, we saw it with the issue of Men's Go, where they issued several warnings to people to not deal with this company because we do not trust their operation. We can hardly, we don't understand their system, and it smells fraudulent. And people still dealt with them, and eventually, it came down. The bubble burst, and it came down. So, is there more Bank of Ghana can do than just releasing a statement and saying, "Don't deal with these apps. Don't deal with these loan or illegal apps"?
Yes, there is more.
What more
That's
can they do?
the financial regulator and other government institutions are doing. The CSA, the Cybersecurity Authority, my institution, together with the financial regulator and other criminal justice authorities and other public institutions, are actually currently conducting an investigation to ensure that these perpetrators are held accountable for their conduct. At this point, I can share into details, otherwise we will compromise, the investigations. But rest assured, these government institutions are working. They are investigating, and at the appropriate time, these perpetrators will be held accountable for their conduct.
Okay, we'll definitely get to talk about, more about what the Cyber Security Authority is doing. There's even a number, I believe 292, that you can even text and call when you have an issue, when you suspect that somebody is involved in cyber-related offense or cyber-related crime. So we will definitely be sharing more on what the Cybersecurity Authority is doing. But let's talk about this issue of romance fraud. Like romance fraud is so in the air, and people are falling victim over and over and over again. I just want you to take us back to the very basics, the fundamentals of how this starts on the internet and people just become victims to romance fraud.
So romance fraud, I call them old crimes in new wineskin.
Right.
Old crimes in the sense that they come up under the class of crimes called defrauding by false pretenses, which is criminalized under the Criminal Offences Act, the Act 29, defrauding by false pretenses. The only difference here is that now it's happening online, and now when everything moves online, it moves at a great it magnifies, because of the nature of the internet. So the scale, the speed, the scope of this kind of defrauding by false pretenses has increased in the scope, in the sense that they are able to reach people who are not even within their location. So somebody can be here in Ghana and their victim could be out there, or somebody can be out there and their victim could be here in Ghana, just because of the internet. Now, defrauding by false pretense, which romance scam falls under, is basically the perpetrator uses the means of false pretenses or personation to cause their victim to give out consent to either part with or transfer their ownership of anything that belongs to them. And so basically an example is like, okay, so when they go online, maybe they can go on a dating website, or maybe on one of the social media platforms, put a nice profile about themselves, and meanwhile they are not the ones. So it's like personation. They act like different people. So they could actually use the images of someone else, use fictitious names, and provide a nice profile about themselves. And they go another step further of actually conducting research about their victims. And so they know about their victims, they know about their weaknesses. Maybe the people are lonely, maybe they are insecure, and they prey on that weakness, that vulnerability, to gain the trust of their victims. And once that trust is established through maybe sending compliments, talking about nice words to their victims, and people want to hear that, and sometimes when people are at their low points in life, that is when they fall prey to these kinds of, actions. And once they are able to establish that trust, they take advantage of the trust and start demanding for maybe some money or some property because they have an emergency. Usually it will be, oh, I have an emergency, or could you send me money so I can visit you?
Right.
So that is the nature of the modus operandi, and they fall prey. And now they part with their property, or they part with, unfortunately, some money to these perpetrators.
Right. Yeah. So I'm just going to go a bit of the, points that lawyer just made about romance scam. So they are preying on people who are lonely, like she said, people who are vulnerable. Maybe the person just lost somebody and they want somebody they can connect with. And then this criminal who is online would pretend to care about you so much. It makes you feel like you are the most amazing person in the world. At least for you, the victim, you would believe it because at that time you really want somebody to say something really nice to you. And then if you look like me, you're big, and it's, oh, I like women who are big, no, don't change anything about yourself. You are exactly what I want. Then you begin to fall. Meanwhile, you want to lose weight, and me, I want to lose weight. Then you're saying like, oh, I've met someone who loves me the way I am, and you're 100% me, big, black, and beautiful. They are just luring you because they are preying on your insecurities, on your vulnerabilities. And now they have their prey where they want them. And what do they do next?
So
they demand things.
They demand things, and now you trust them. You're probably in love.
And
with a
now
fictitious
you don't want to
person.
Lose this love.
You don't want the bubble to burst. You're on all these lovely bubble.
Wow.
They get into your head, and so once they use that, then now they take advantage. Can you send me some money? I have an emergency. And now this is a person you are in love with.
Yeah.
And so what do?
You would send them.
You want to help. So that is how they get their victims.
And then and what about how they let go, how they ditch? Yes, that's the word. How they ditch their victims. What happens? Do they just ghost them? So one day you just get up and now the love of my life, Hajia for real, has disappeared. I can't find it. How does it work? How do they leave their victims?
So usually, so far as you are in love with them, it can go on for some time.
Wow.
I've read stories where it's gone on for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, and the people actually think that, they have something going on. So once it's working for them, they constantly, try to use the relationship to their benefits.
But at
what point maybe you want to meet them.
Right.
If you want to meet them, then they probably start giving excuses, or maybe if they feel that you are about, getting to know about their modus operandi.
Right, because you begin to ask maybe questions.
Questions, yes. Then, they didn't exist in the first place in the sense that they were using a fake profile.
Right.
And so it's just easy to stop
So what can I do? How do I know that, someone is preying on me? How do I know that this person I have met who espouses every characteristic of a man I dreamed of, a man I've seen in the movies, an experience I've never had in my life, right? How do I know I'm just being preyed? How do I know somebody is just lying to me because they really don't like me? They like maybe the money that they would get from me, or they think I'm in a position to help them, so they're using the false pretenses to claim that. How do I know if I'm on the internet? What should I look out for?
It's just a matter of being careful. It's just a matter of being careful because sometimes things on the internet are not what they seem to be. So be careful about sharing your information to people. Right. Be careful about, parting with some, property or some money to somebody you've never met before.
Right.
You need to be careful about those things. And you also have to do your checks well. If you find a profile and maybe they've shared some images, there are actually some websites.
Oh yes, please share with us. So if you go on the internet and you're not sure about certain profiles, lawyer will tell us, which websites maybe you can go and run the image to be sure this is a genuine person or this person has picked someone else's profile or someone else's photo. So please tell us the websites that we can go.
So the website is https://images.google.com. .com.
Okay.
HTTPS with a slash
okay.
dot//.
We'll put it on TV for them. Yeah, we'll put
images.google.com.
it on TV. Okay.
Or you can also do https:// TINEYE.
TINEYE, like tin eye. Right.
.com. So when you check these things, when you go online, you'll be able to ascertain if the person's profile or picture appears somewhere else.
Okay.
So then if
a
he
picture
is saying,
pop up many places.
Yeah.
Okay.
So you can just cross-check. So maybe if he or she is saying probably my name is ABC, and you go check somewhere, and it's an image appear XYZ, there's some inconsistency.
Right.
Then you need to be cautious. You need to be careful.
Wow, we will definitely put those websites on TV because today we're really trying to help you. Because I'm sure there are some of you who are watching us on Facebook. You know, if you're on Facebook, you're on the internet, you're watching us live. If on Twitter as Metro TVGH, you're on the internet, you're all vulnerable. And we share so much. I mean, people say we are in the age of oversharing, where we share everything of us. I mean, I can even find pictures of myself from 2006 on the internet, on Facebook, and I don't have it on my phone. But it's still on the internet.
The internet doesn't forget.
The internet doesn't forget. So
it's a permanent digital footprint.
Right. So when someone says that I have been involved, I mean, we've talked about outside. I know Ghana here it happens. There are victims, there are perpetrators here who are doing it to persons in America, and we've seen it, play out. So what can a person do when they find themselves in such a situation?
So when you are a victim of this kind of, defrauding by false pretense or romance scam, you need to report it. You need to report it. You can report it to the Cybersecurity Authority. We have our short code 292. You can call or you can text.
Right.
Or you can send a WhatsApp message. A WhatsApp message, I believe, you show the number online, or you could actually send an email to report@csa.gov.gh. Or you can report to the criminal justice authorities, the Ghana police. Sometimes people suffer in silence. They don't report.
Because they are embarrassed.
They are embarrassed. So they suffer in silence. And one of the cybercrime challenges is actually underreporting. People fail to report. So I want to use this platform to encourage people to report. Don't suffer in silence. There's help out there.
Wow. We will definitely continue. I want to go over the numbers that lawyer Jennifer MENSAH mentioned. You can call or text if you're suspecting somebody involved in cyber-related crime. If you have become a victim, staying locked up, depressed, and shut out from the world would not end the criminal's act. They will only move to another victim. So call 292 or text 292. Give them any information you want to give. If you don't want to be known, if you want your identity should be concealed, they'll be more than happy to do that. Or you can also WhatsApp them with more. If maybe you have pictures, you have videos, you have something, or a phone call that you recorded, you can call 050-160-3111. Or you can just go to, on the internet, since you're on the internet, email them. Report, as in REPORT at the at sign, the A with that little, oval or circle around it, at csa.gov.gh. Report at CSA. I didn't say report at, no. Report as in the report is part of the email. So it's REPORT at csa.gov.gh, and it's something that we'll definitely put on the screen for you to see, because it's important that we nip it in the bud, and they cannot do that without information from you, the victims, without information from people who you suspect in your neighborhood who are involved in cyber-related offenses. So, and especially the romance fraud, what are some of the implications that you have seen with persons who have been victims of romance fraud? What happens to them? What happens eventually to them?
So, I mean, they have lost some economic item. Maybe they've lost the property. They've lost, some wealth. It can affect them, psychologically. But, these things with time, you get okay.
I've read a story of someone who actually committed suicide. And that's where we don't want to get to, where the
Yeah.
person committed suicide because they had fallen in love with this person that they could not take the betrayal. In fact, it meant that everything else they had told them about themselves was a lie. Made them feel like they were the best.
And you know what? Some perpetrators can take it to another level of beginning to threaten them. That I'm going to share nude pictures about you because in the course of the relationship, maybe the victims may have shared some nude pictures or some intimate images, and now they use it to blackmail them and say, if you don't give me ABC, I'm going to distribute these intimate images about you. And now people find themselves in a fix, and that can actually lead to suicide, unfortunately.
Wow. So the Cybersecurity Authority sounds like you have your hands full. We'll come back. Don't worry, we'll talk more about the romance fraud. But it looks like you have your hands full. Can you just share with us, on the daily, what kind of reports come in to the Cybersecurity Authority, and how do you go about it? In trying. I mean, there was one you said, okay, you can't divulge, information because of security. But generally, what kind of information come in? How do you deal with it? Yeah.
So one of the topmost, reports we obtain has got to do with, cyber fraud. That one is top on the list. Cyber fraud, where people are made to part with, maybe a property or money or something of that sort.
I mean, last time I checked, someone sent as much as $80,000, to somebody they fell in love with. They were so in love with
Yes. You can actually deal with significant amounts of monies because the people trust them and they see them as a partner, and they can share huge sums of monies actually.
Wow.
So usually when we get people reports on fraudulent activities, one of the things we do is to analyze. We analyze and we see that, okay, so when we realize that now we've realized that fraud is, top on the list, that is what informs us on our cybersecurity awareness program,
right.
And so we will either, we usually come out on a regular basis with what we call advisories, and in the advisories we describe, the modus operandi of the kind of fraud we are dealing with, and we issue out certain measures that people can take to protect themselves. That is the format of the advisories, and that comes out regularly based on the kind of reports that we receive at the CSA. We also take it a step further to go out to the public, to churches, to mosques, to schools, to actually educate the public on the kind of frauds that are happening out there and the need for them to be aware of these threats and what they can put in place to protect themselves and protect their properties and loved ones.
When you go out, do you get a sense that people are aware, or you are surprised by the lack of awareness of how prevalent cyber crimes are?
Yeah, sometimes we meet people who are probably aware, but sometimes you meet people who lack, understanding of these things, and they've probably actually, even put out certain sensitive information out there, and so we are being, we're taking this awareness quite, seriously, and we run it throughout the year, visiting schools, visiting churches, mosques, sharing our advisories through our social media, channels and, on platforms, such as these, to get people to be aware of the kind of threats that are presented by, this digital age.
Which groups are most vulnerable?
So, usually with this kind of romance fraud, you realize that as people, the elderly, people between the ages of maybe 50, mid-50 and into their 60s, because probably they've lost, a loved one, they are lonely, and they're looking for companionship. And so they tend to be vulnerable. And you find people using maybe images of younger people and promising them things and, telling them things they want to hear, because at that point they are lonely and they prey on that vulnerability, and unfortunately,
We will definitely come back to that on persons who are more prone to cyber related attacks, and like you heard lawyers say, it's people who are vulnerable, people, maybe you've lost someone, you're grieving, and in that moment your light, your knight and shiny armor just turns up and turns your world upside down, and they literally turn your world upside down. We're taking a break. We'll come back and talk more on cyber related crimes and what collaboration CSA does, with other agencies in fighting cyber fraud. We'll be right back. Welcome back to One on One. We're still having a conversation on cyber crimes, romance fraud, and other online related crimes that happens. Cybercrime seems to be at the very top of it, and there's also one that they fish, they use other people's image, and they what do you call that, when someone steals your image? So say my maybe a bank, Alaba Bank, let's say Alaba Bank, and the fraudster will do Araba Bank, and you just get confused. That's phishing.
Or social. It's basically under the group social engineering techniques. Yeah, so they can use phishing. Sometimes they use malicious software. We need to be careful about things that we click. Like you're saying,
right.
They can send some link into your email and pretend as if it's your bank. That is a phishing or a social engineering technique. And once you click on that, you probably introduce a malicious software onto your machine.
I think I have been a victim of phishing. I want to share how it happened. No, so and the reason I did not notice that it had the reason I didn't even notice that's what happened was that I'm not very active on Facebook.
Okay.
And so I think I got an email, but I'm very active. I check my emails because of work.
Yeah.
So I get an email, and it's is it Sarah something Facebook GM something, and it came with the Facebook logo. I just clicked on it, but when I read it, I realized, nah, this is not. But I'd already clicked on it.
Oh.
And apparently they got into my Facebook. They took over my Facebook, and they used it to post, I think, right-wing things. I didn't even notice. Later, I wanted to sign into my Facebook, and I didn't have access.
It's been hacked.
Not knowing it had been hacked for several months. But how could I have avoided a thing like that? It's an email from Facebook. We get Facebook all the time. How do I know?
We should be careful about. You need to look at the email. Look at the email carefully, especially if you are not really expecting any such email.
It's true.
And you obtain it, you should take a critical look at it. Sometimes maybe they may replace an O with a 0.
Yeah.
Or there could be something that will let you know that there is something. So we just have to be careful and take a critical look at things.
Right. And I only got to know because when I wanted to sign in, they said, my name is not Bridget, your name is Sarah. And I remember, I received an email from one Sarah from Facebook. Is that the Sarah who has hacked my account? But I'm just happy it was just Facebook. It could have been worse.
Yeah, so she actually did an identity theft.
Right.
So she's using, your details out there. It's your Facebook. I mean, it's your profile, and now she's using that.
Wow.
That is, identity theft. Now, what happens? Some of these things do not only happen to individuals, but actually it can happen to organizations too.
In what way? Yeah.
It's called, business email compromise.
Okay.
And they actually use the same phishing. So when they click on the phishing email, maybe they target, top executives in businesses and send them phishing emails. And when you're not careful and you click on this email, it introduces some malicious software into your email. They stay in wait. They surveil, monitor the communications that is going to and fro from the email. And as soon as maybe there is something about, maybe somebody sent an email about payment of some fees or payment for some service that maybe a company has rendered, they intercept. They probably send another email to this person.
I think that's what Hush Puppy did. They fished companies' emails, and that's how he was able to divert monies for companies into their accounts.
And it's really happening out of the business email compromise. And once they do that, then the clients of the company send them, the money. Yeah, so we need to be careful about these, phishing.
Wow. So just being
emails.
careful, not clicking on emails that you're not expecting one email. You're not expecting millions of dollars from somebody, so just avoid it. Being careful with your email.
Be careful about
downloading things. So be
free
careful about
things, online
freebies. Oh my God! There was this time, I think there was Amazon. Since Amazon is giving free, and if you click on it, it takes you to another thing. People forwarded that thing to me 100 times. I did not.
Careful.
And but when it's coming from family and friends, family and friends, they just forward the things. Sometimes I don't even know whether they open it. What do we do?
Click it. Don't click it.
It's from family. Say your uncle, you think is educated, is sending you. So how do we let individuals or family members know to not forward this message, to not open this? Like what can we possibly do to break the chain?
Sometimes you are not able to prevent the action of the other party. But once you get it, don't click on that link when you are not expecting any message like that. Because once you click on it, you're probably introducing something onto your machine. Once you click on it, it launches and executes whatever code in there, and now you have things introduced onto your machine. But you could also, educate family members. You can educate family members. You can tell them, you need to be careful about these things you are sending. And probably, get one of the CSA advisories and push it to them. We all have to, be ambassadors of the CSA. Because when we share these, messages, these advisories, you can actually, share them with family and friends. The advisories that come from the Cybersecurity Authority, it actually spells out, the modus operandi and what they can do. So those are the things we should share with, family and friends.
What's the focus of CSA? Is it only in Ghana? Do you collaborate with other agencies? Let us know who those agencies are.
We do collaborate. Well, like I said initially, the Cybersecurity Authority, we are mandated by the Act 1038 to regulate cybersecurity activities in this country and see to the development of cybersecurity and ensure that Ghana's digital ecosystem is kept secure and resilient. Through that, we are mandated to prevent, manage, and respond to cybersecurity incidents that happen in this country. We are also mandated to collaborate with, public institutions, private institutions, to ensure that Ghana's digital ecosystem is secured, as well as even international partners. The nature of the internet, it is borderless. And so it is not limited to this country. Because you can commit an offense here and its effect will take place in another country. Or somebody in another country can commit an offense and its effect will take place in this country. So there's the need for cooperation and collaboration with, other international partners, especially when it comes to investigating cyber offenses. Because of the nature of the internet, there may be an evidence that you need to be able to prove, your case in court during prosecution, and that evidence may be sitting in Alaska. That evidence may be sitting in Australia. What do you have to do? You have to collaborate and cooperate with the law enforcement agents on the other side. That is why the CSA, Ghana, spearheaded by the Ministry of Communications and Digitalization, as well as the Cybersecurity Authority, signed up to the Budapest Convention. The Budapest Convention is a cybercrime treaty, that actually enhances collaboration and cooperation between various countries to support each other to prosecute cyber offenses successfully. And so there are other, parties who have signed up to the Budapest Convention, and through that we're able to collaborate and cooperate and share, ideas. There capacity building, programs that actually see to it that our criminal justice sector authorities, the judiciary, the prosecutors, the law enforcement agents, are educated on approaches of prosecuting cyber crimes successfully. And when it comes to investigations, we actually collaborate with them to be able to obtain electronic evidence as both ways.
Wow, that's a lot. So are there specific, I'm tempted to ask this, but she might not answer, but I'll ask anyway. Are there specific cases that stands out that maybe you collaborated to bring to a successful and where perpetrators were arrested or prosecuted? You don't want to. I knew she would answer that. I knew she would answer. I guess it's security related. But what is the most difficult part about prosecuting cybercrime?
So the most difficult part about prosecuting cybercrime is actually acquiring the electronic evidence. Acquiring the electronic evidence. Like I said initially, the electronic evidence could be sitting somewhere
Wow.
in Alaska.
How
And
dear.
you may find it, and sometimes the Budapest Convention, allows law enforcement agents, to cooperate
together.
and collaborate.
Right.
But
Right.
sometimes that collaboration and cooperation could actually, cause some delays. Mutual legal assistance, requests. It can cause some, delays.
Right.
Sometimes, and you would have to use those channels. And the risk here is that if you are not careful, that electronic evidence could actually, be deleted,
Sure.
or it could be tampered with, And so time is of the essence. Time is of the essence when
But
it
is
comes to
that
these
why
things.
some of these crimes go on for so long? Or because when the what's it called, musician, the influencer Hajia Mona for real or Hajia for real's issue came, and from the release by the FBI, you could tell that this has been going on for well over 10 years. And you ask yourself, why? Why did it take this long for them to find this out? What do you think accounts for these?
So apart from the challenges in, obtaining the electronic evidence, underreporting is also one of the challenges. People don't report. People don't report. So maybe they fall victim to the offense. They don't report because you need to report for the criminal justice authorities to be aware of what is happening so that they can, commence the investigations.
Right.
So underreporting is one of the challenges as well, because once you report, and like you rightly said, sometimes these mutual legal assistance, can, cause, some delays. But we are finding, solutions, surrounding these things through continually strengthening, our collaboration efforts with other law enforcement agents. But it could take, some time to be able to acquire the electronic evidence. And
Are the criminals ahead of the agencies?
so I wouldn't say they are ahead, except that sometimes criminals are always strategizing and finding new ways, new modus operandi, in order to, victimize, people. But the criminal justice sector, together with these public institutions, have also gotten to a point where we also, research and try to stay ahead of these criminals. We try to think ahead. What are the new ways? What are the likely ways criminals can use? We need to be proactive. So now the criminal justice sector has gotten to a point where it is no more reactive, it is proactive. And so in the collaboration, member states of the Budapest Convention sometimes do share, threats. What are the trends happening in your country? What are the threats happening there? And sometimes the advisories that come from the CSA are based on maybe things that are happening on the global level. You need to be ahead. And so if you know that some things are happening in some other country, you see, okay, what can we do to, secure or protect our people? And so the criminal justice sector is becoming more reactive and more proactive.
More proactive, sorry,
more
yes,
proactive,
more proactive.
and try to be ahead of these criminals.
Wow. Any countries you collaborating currently that you want to share with us? Countries that you're collaborating?
So with the countries, they are member states to the Budapest Convention.
Right.
You can talk about the United States of America, the UK, countries within the European Union, countries in Africa here, Nigeria, Senegal. All these countries, have signed up to the Budapest Convention. And also Ghana. If you were following last year when we did our awareness month, we actually, got into an MOU with Rwanda and Mozambique. And so these are some of the countries we collaborate with.
Okay. Is there a particular country where you see Ghanaians, Ghanaians or Africans, targeting, their victims? I mean, persons who are involved in cyber-related crime, whether romance, fraud, or whatever. Is there a particular country that seems to be like on the top if you're ranking that are vulnerable?
That's Ghanaians target.
Yes. Yeah.
Obviously, it will be the developed countries. Yeah, the developed countries.
But you can't say maybe it's UK, US, Canada. You can't rank them. You can't rank them in that order.
I don't have that analysis.
I know they like dollars. So I would have said USD. So US first. I've absolutely enjoyed this conversation, and I hope that we get to talk more about it. And I want you to keep this number in your head. You can call or text 292 and report. It will be dealt with anonymously. It will be dealt with. I mean, they work with security. I've struggled so hard to get her to say some things, So they will definitely keep your issues, your issues safe. They will not release it. You can also call the WhatsApp number that I mentioned. It's 050 1603111, or you just go to email report@csa.gov.gh, and it will be worked on. So can you investigate on your own, or if I have an issue, do I have to go to the police before they come to you? How does it work? What happens?
Oh, when you have an issue, you can report to the CSA. You can report to the Ghana police as well.
But you can go straight to CSA.
Oh, you can call. You can text, you can send an email, you can send a WhatsApp, yes. And it's a 24/7, reporting channel.
Wow. Yeah. Wow. Okay. And coming back to the issue of being on an online, accessing apps. Are apps that are in, whether it's on App Store or Google Play Store, does that guarantee their genuinity?
Not exactly so, because we see that these apps, which the Bank of Ghana indicated that they are unlicensed, and also the Data Protection Commission indicated that these apps are not registered with the Data Protection Commission. They are there on the Play Store. So
it means that if I go to Google Play Store, if I'm on the App Store, and I download something from there, it does not necessarily mean that I am out of it. In fact, I could even be feeding right into it.
Yeah, when you download, it doesn't mean you are risk-free. You need to read the access permissions. You need to read the terms and conditions to see what you are getting yourself into before you download or use the apps. You need to read all the fine prints.
Okay. Yeah. In terms of men and women, which groups are more vulnerable to these attacks? Which groups are?
It cuts across. It cuts across.
So you can't say which gender is falling victim to.
No, it cuts across actually.
So it's balanced. Right.
So anybody can fall victim to this. Anybody can fall victim.
Wow. Okay. And then to the issue of Bank of Ghana, illegal, same thing. If I am now a victim. So in my friend's case, for instance, she had her number, taking, I don't know what else, other information they have. If she pays the money, right, to the loan, to the lenders, if she pays her money to them, then what happens? Is she safe now? Now I've paid the money. They are no longer sending
the
messages.
The risk is still out there because, your information is still with them. Because you granted the permission, and the app has, the capability of collecting all this information. And that is why the criminal justice authorities and the various public institutions are, investigating these issues to support the victims.
I'm happy to hear that. I'm happy to hear that the Bank of Ghana did not just release a statement. They are working with other authorities to ensuring that those behind it, they are caught or they are brought to book. So if you have any information on them, you are the one who signed up to it. Please volunteer those information to them. But unfortunately, we ran out of time. Lawyer Jennifer MENSAH, she's lead legal and compliance functional department or functional area at the Cybersecurity Authority here in the capital Accra. It's been a pleasure having you. Thank you so much for coming to our studio.
It's been a pleasure having this conversation.
I've enjoyed it. I can't wait for us to have
Same
maybe
here.
a second one, you know, real soon. So I hope that you've taken note of all the points she dropped about, you know, how you can stay safe if you're online, what to look out for to know that no, you are being targeted. She's giving out website that we'll put on TV for you to run images that you find online to see, is this profile who it says it is, or is it someone else's photo that has been picked? All those websites will be put on the screen for you to watch. I hope you have enjoyed the conversation. Go online, and again, go online. Ironic, eh? Go online and put your thoughts there. Use the hashtag one-on-one cybersecurity. Cybersecurity authorities will attend to all your complaints as well. Don't forget the numbers. Text or dial. I can't say that enough. You know, 292. That's the shortest. 292. That's it. So thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so
We'll
much
see
for
you
having me.
next week. Have a blessed evening. Bye.